session is with Artisan Lou, who's from Wally and Eva. And look, Lou's got many hats on and she's juggling full-time work, but also a shop that she's got, and really trying to be able to create socials that are consistent and on brand is one of her biggest struggles. But we're going to be diving into this session and really looking at how it's not actually about the brand consistency, but more so about the consistency and how she can work it into her everyday activities that she's doing in order to be able to gain that traction. So, Lou from Wally and Eva, how are you?
I am wonderful, thanks, Lena. How are you?
Oh, I'm really good. I'm wearing my Wally and Eva earrings as
Mm,
well. Do
yes.
you know, and I don't know whether these were even meant to be this, but these are my favorite Christmas earrings. Like, I
Well,
love wearing these at Christmas.
they are I think they're called the Christmas blossom or the Christmas bell flower or
Ah,
something. So they're our take on Christmas
yeah,
rather
it's very clever. It's very
than
clever. Now, in your, like in the pre-form that we had for this session, you'd spoken about social media and branding and consistency. Do you want to give me a little bit more of an overview of what you're hoping to cover in this session? And we'll take it from there.
Well, I guess as far as branding, and I'm sure I'm not unique in this in the maker world. I just have too many ideas. So I find it very hard to go, that's it. I'm really happy with that. Move on.
Yeah.
Um, and and I guess I find something I like for a little while, but then my brain goes, oh, I could make that better, or I could change that, or I could. And I did that wonderful masterclass with you, and that taught me a whole heap that I didn't know. So I have tried to take what I learned from that, but I'm still not. I'm not 100% happy. I think one of the things you said that really resonated with me was people should know it's you even if your logo isn't there.
Yeah. It's
And
it's one of the quickest and easiest ways to go, just have a look and have a check and see whether, like, get a personal temperature gauge of whether or
yeah,
not it's like, oh, that's me or it's not.
yeah, and I don't feel I'm there yet. Like I think we've got a color palette that I'm quite happy with because it's all sort of olive greens
Yeah.
and soft pale gray greens. And we have a shop, so I try and enforce that in my packaging
Yeah.
and in orders we send out. So I think I'm kind of I've got there probably with the packaging, but translating that into social media, I find social media a bit of a beast. I have a love-hate relationship with it, really. In that I'm not a prolific poster. I try and post when I really feel I've got something to say. And and I know that I probably should post more. I'm seeing I had an aim of going from we had 30 followers when I sort of rebranded our business to Wally and Eva, and my aim was to get to 100 by the end of that year, and I got to 200. So it was a small win for us that we beat our goal. So my next goal is kind of 1,000. Like that's my next benchmark, but I won't get there without the consistency and all the algorithms and the things that actually prevent you from getting to the people that you want to get to. It sometimes feels like yeah. So brand consistency is something I do have problems with.
Yeah, and from listening to you then, I probably wonder whether it's consistency rather than brand consistency.
Yeah. Okay, yes,
That,
yes.
that might be
Fair point.
the little gap that you've got there. So talk to me for a second because so you've actually got a bricks and mortar store as well.
Yeah.
Aha. You know, I'd seen that somewhere in your socials and about the store, and I was like, oh, I wonder whether it's a collaborative store or your own store, but it's actually your own store.
So uh, my hubby, he needed an office for what he does,
Yeah.
and it just so happened that where he found had a little shop window in it, and we've been doing markets for I guess 7 years or 7 or 8 years, uh, and it was like maybe we don't want to pitch a tent every week and worry about the weather.
Yeah.
He's going to rent it anyway. So it's a very tiny little shop. It's not a big shop. But it was an opportunity to just put all our stuff in a place and see how it goes. And we took a couple of our other maker friends and we've popped some of their stuff in there, but generally
Perfect.
it's our shop with our stuff. And this helps my crazy brain and my million ideas because I can go, oh, I can make this now. And I like this stuff behind me is my latest.
Oh, show me, show me.
So I'm working on a range of like
Oh, I
everlasting
love
flowers.
them.
So there'll
I
be
love them.
so I've got it's consistent with all our other products, but I've just created a few more like kangaroo paw and straw flower and some eucalyptus leaves and stuff because I thought some people don't want to buy flowers and have them die on them and stuff, so this is a way to sort of have a unique little flower arrangement that will last forever.
Actually, I love them, Lou. I think they look really beautiful. And I can see that they'd work really well for kids as well. I think kids would really love them
Yeah,
because obviously, because they're on the wand, I think that's a real no-brainer as well. And you could get some gorgeous photos with little girls holding them and stuff as well. I think would be a
mm,
nice little add-on. Can you talk to me a little bit about, because I'm going through your social media, right? And I know that you're saying it looks a mess. Just first up, right? It does not. Also, I want to say that I think that you've got really strong brand presence. Like
oh
whenever I see your products coming through, in particular, I would say with the wooden creations that you do, not so much with the lamps and with the pet mats as well that you do. And I've got a few ideas for you on that one as well, but they're probably for me the ones that I go, oh, I wonder who they're by.
right,
And I don't make the connection as much to your work, but with your main work, and I've got one of your little Christmas decorations here
yeah.
as well, which I love, but very recognizable. Like
Okay,
even in the covers that you choose and the style that you choose and your paintwork and your even the actual topic that you choose, whether it's a bird or a flower, like it's very recognizable as you. So I
oh
think
that's so amazing to hear, it really is.
well,
Really.
I think one of the things, where you were saying, like as a creative, that you've got that brain where it kind of goes in all directions and you want to do all the things. I think one of the other things that's very common among many creatives is that they're very hard on themselves.
Yes, it is a common problem amongst us artisan types.
Well, I think it's when you're putting, it's not just product that you're making, right? You're making heart and soul product, and
Yeah,
that's very different because it
yeah,
means that if someone is judging something that you've built with heart and soul, that's very different to just selling a product that you have no attachment to.
yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
can you talk to me a little bit about, as far as with what you're doing on socials, what does that look like? Like, what's your plan? Do you have like, this is how often I want to post, this is what I'm trying to post?
I I I had one, if I'm
Yeah.
honest. I had one up until sort of probably November last year, and it kind of went out the window when I just couldn't find the time to. I guess I'm a perfectionist at heart.
Mm,
And so if it's not perfect, I don't post it. And I know they're not perfect, but if it's not perfect in my head, how
yeah.
I want it, I won't post it. And I miss my deadlines all the time. So like I wanted to do one about International Women's Day because it's really important to me. A lot of the
Yeah.
people I work with are women, but it came and went, and I had ideas, and then it was like, oh, now it's the day after, and there's no. So I sort of I miss my deadlines by overthinking things.
I
I would
think,
I would like it to be weekly, like that would be my ideal. I'm nowhere near there yet, but that's I guess that's where I'd like to get to. Um, or
so
even two posts every 3 weeks or three posts a month, or give myself something. And this is what I mentioned to you in my form about realistic deadlines, because I'm sure the only maker that has multiple jobs. So
yeah, agreed. Agreed.
I have a fairly intense day job
Yeah.
that is poles apart from what I do in my making business. And then we've got the shop. And so at the moment I technically have 8 days worth of work in 7 days a week. So
Do you know what I would say with that is that yes, that's true. And no, it's not. And what I mean by that is that, yes, absolutely, you're juggling many things. But I think the number one thing that holds us back from doing socials, and I agree that there's that perfection, but it's also knowing what to do.
Mm,
So when you don't know what you're doing, you're
mm.
like, it takes so long to come up with
Yes,
anything because you're
yes.
going, it's almost like you go, oh, I'm looking at the universe and wondering what I would talk about, right? And it's like, I don't know how the world began, right? Like it's just it's too big.
Yeah,
Whereas
I
like
agree.
let's say for an example, and this is where it comes into play, having a few content pillars. And this will work really well with, with where we're talking about the branding and what that looks like. Is that when you have content pillars, it means that it's kind of like giving you a few lanes that you can stick to so that every time that you go to do content, you're like, oh, I know exactly what to do there. And so when I was saying no, it's not true, and I could feel you kind of going, it is true, it is true. I can't do more. But like say for an example, when you're in the shop, that's the perfect opportunity for you to have like a formula for what you do with stories. And why I love stories as a starting point is because you can add them to highlight reels as an example, but it means you've got fresh content happening on your profile as well. How many days a week is the shop open?
3.
3. Okay, perfect. So on those 3 days, you can have a bit of a formula for what happens. So the first one could be like you going, hey, I'm in store today. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're not going to do that. There's a big no to that. We're going to warm up to that. It is now my mission to start nudging you on a daily basis to say do that. But we'll come back to that. But you can work it out. So let's say for an example, like if it's a how do you start your day in the shop?
I usually start doing accounts. I know
Okay,
that's so boring, but I do the work accounts, the business accounts, that sort of stuff. So that's usually how I start my week in the shop.
so maybe we could
And
play
topping up
with
the stock. I run around the shop topping up the stock.
perfect. Topping up the stock is a perfect one. So what you could do, and I've just got my other phone here because I find it's good to. Oh, sorry, hold on 2 seconds. Hey, no, oh my goodness, just do everything. Just do everything. Sorry. Um. Okay, so I've got my other phone here because this it works well. But what you can do is that before you're ready to turn the camera on yourself, which will be closer than you think, because remember,
A really long way away, Lena.
stories disappear.
Yeah.
Stories disappear, and you can even delete them straight afterwards. So you can just ease yourself up to it. But what I'm imagining you doing, right, is going to the shop. It could be unlocking the door or opening the door, right? Like it could be literally, do you have a sign in the window that you flip over and put open? So that's a really easy one where you can have that as a story. And I know you're like, I don't want to repeat the same thing, but remember, your audience isn't always going to see it. And
Yeah.
actually, the more that someone sees it, the more that they have a trigger for, because what days are you open?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh gosh, so your whole like basically your whole weekend as well. Okay, right. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it can be like Thursday, we're open 9 till 4 or whatever. Because as even though you think that that's repetitive content, people need to be told like 100 times before they actually remember that you're open on Thursday as well. So it's that really getting that repetition happening there with what you're doing. But also, like, let's say for an example that you've got, with your new flowers that you've created. So it could be like something as simple as picking up a flower. You're holding your camera like this, handheld, so it's all really easy. And you just pick it up and pull it towards the camera, add a little bit of music over the top, and you've got a story. If you're refilling the stock, oh my goodness, more Australian birds sold out. Like it's really simple stuff, but because you've got that space in the shop, all of a sudden it brings it to life. Sorry, I've got this. No, okay, you stay there. Oh my goodness, look.
Baby.
on the couch where he's
Oh,
not meant to be, on the blanket where he's not meant to be.
yeah, but
It's a lot.
he's near mummy. That's
I know, I know, I know.
but this is
And
as
you,
close as I can get without getting in trouble. So I'm
no, I know.
oh.
He's no, oh, lie down. Good boy, lie down. There we
Oh,
go. He's very
oh,
sweet.
darling.
But so I think in that it's about creating, like for you, a repeatable formula.
Yeah.
And if you can just try and stick to that repeatable formula, where it's almost like you have, like, even if you print it off like a tick sheet, right? And you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you literally just do 3 stories on each of those days. Now, all of a sudden, you've created content that could also be turned into reels, but it's starting to get you used to having that consistency. Because I think that when we go from like overthinking, and thinking about it being all about perfection and going towards that future vision, right, it means that it restricts our ability to create in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more that you can give yourself, I guess, the setup to be able to do that, that's going to allow you a lot more breath and space to be able to do it. Now, when we're talking about those content pillars, now it would be completely up to you. It's less about product here and more about themes. So if I was to ask you, what would be 3 words that you would, or 3 terms or 3 ideas that you would associate with Wally and Eva?
I know it sounds a bit sustainability, like environmentalism is really huge. Like that's part of my day job. So
Yeah.
I'm really, an aging hippie, if I'm honest. Um, so everything I do, I'm always thinking about how can I do it without it causing any more harm.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And flora and fauna, I guess nature in general is the big one. Um, and I don't know, a third. I mean, I could probably throw out 100. Is it weird to say green? Like the color green is sort of permeates a lot of what I do as well, like the painted walls of my shop, the I guess the color, the feeling that the color gives. It's a feeling.
It
Uh,
is. There's
um,
an energy space to that
yeah,
comes in. But
yeah,
really interestingly, when you were talking about sustainability, in my head, I was straight away thinking about green.
yeah. Well, yes, okay, yes.
So where that sort of took me is that, we can think about sustainability and perhaps we can link that in with the green, right? So if we're thinking about the content pillars, we've got sustainability, flora and fauna. Now, one of the ones that I think is missing that would kind of tie all these 3 together would either be creativity or handmade in Australia.
Mm.
Like there's something because your
Well,
products are
handmade,
handmade.
definitely. I mean, we
Yeah.
make everything, so
Yeah.
yes.
So it kind of means that then you can start to think about, like, if you were going to go, okay, I'm going to do a post a week, well, you could go, oh, I'm going to do one about sustainability this week. I'm going to do one about flora and fauna next time. And then the third one I'm going to do about handmade. So then what you can do is really use AI. Are you using Chat GPT much?
So, I think you're the same as me. I love writing, and I'm afraid of losing my ability to write. Because I feel like it's a skill we're about to lose in the world.
I can really relate to that. And I
And
must
so
admit,
I struggle. Yeah.
yeah,
You
and I
struggle?
must admit that I lean into Chat GPT a lot as well in certain aspects. But when it comes to the final creation, I always find that it's still not capturing my essence. But what I do find it good for is brainstorming.
Right.
So
Well, that
this is
makes sense.
where, yeah, so this is where I think you can start to play with it and utilize it as a tool rather than leaning on it as an employee.
Yeah.
And that's quite different because I think that also when you're in those early stages of wanting to really uncover your brand and develop your brand, I think it's so important. that you do that.
Yeah.
And I really do think that whether or not, you go through, like, I know, and I've worked with agencies and stuff multiple times before, but when you're not really clear about who and what you're doing, really, it's almost like having someone else's opinion come on. It starts to lose some of its soul a bit.
Yeah, I just I know people say you can't tell the difference, but I drop a little bit of humor into what I do. I like there to be a little bit of tongue in cheek, and AI does not do that.
Okay, so this is
AI does
this.
beautiful descriptions, and sometimes I'm like, wow, I couldn't have written that better myself, and I find that really heartbreaking. But at the same time, it's not me.
So one thing that I would say there as well, when we were talking about the content pillars, that humor and tongue in cheek is not something that you mentioned. Your brand was actually sounding quite serious. We've got sustainability, flora and
Yeah,
fauna, like
yeah.
it's quite serious. And now knowing that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because what if we have sustainability that's approached with creativity and lightness? All of
Yes.
a sudden, that feels very Wally and Eva.
Yes.
So rather than being
Yeah, I don't want it to be
sustainability,
like, don't do this and do that.
yes,
Like it's not, it's more, hey, I've worked out a way to do this better, or I've found a supplier that supplies these amazing things and they're made in Australia. Like that's
yeah.
kind of the
And I
angle.
and I think with, where we're talking about, again, back to the pillars, is that from there, you want to just brainstorm what's 100 ideas of content that I could share at each one of those levels. Now, if you put this into Chat GPT, look, 50 of them will be terrible, 30 of them will be amazing, 20 of them will be, oh, they need some work. Now, from there, that means that you can go, oh, I've got an idea for that. Now, do you use spreadsheets? I'm guessing you're
Do I use
environmental.
spreadsheets?
I know.
You
I'm
can't
a,
see, but I have an Excel spreadsheet coffee cup just off to the left here.
I love Excel as well. It's like, well, I use sheets, but anyway, but it's my happy place. Jeff's like, he'll come home and he's like, are you doing a spreadsheet? And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a
Yeah.
spreadsheet.
Yeah. I love
So
spreadsheets.
do I.
You either
Well,
do or
this
you don't. It's really simple.
Exactly. Well, this is going to become your superpower, right? Because what you can do from here is that you can have these three content pillars. It could be four, but if you stick to three, it just means, especially if you're thinking, once a
Would
week, like,
would well, so with the sustainability, handmade, nature, and then I guess humor and whimsy and quirkiness would kind of be in within those three, like over the top of the three. Yeah.
yeah, that's the Wally and Eve, like that's the Wally and Eva, like magical dust.
Yes.
So
Oh, I love
these
that.
these three content pillars could belong to anyone. But the whimsy and the creative and the quirky and the tongue in cheek, that's you. And no one else gets to own that. And that's where you start to. So, like, just this is an example because I've got it here. One thing for me that I find really interesting with this piece, and I'm sure it was on purpose, but I just love how this catches the light.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted metallics to so that when
Yeah.
it sat on the tree, it would, it would be a bit blingy without being unnatural looking.
So exactly. And so this is like, that's a classic example. Like, if I just let me literally just take, okay, here's some content. See if I can do this. Like, it's really that simple.
Well, I guess this ties in now to my other big issue, which is, yes, I know my strengths.
Opportunity.
No, photography.
So what sort of phone have you got?
Um, the
Oh,
iPhone, one of the more recent iPhone.
so that would be where I would say you really you can't take bad photos with that. But let me give you some tricks because I know that's but there's a video that I did which is literally about lighting and angles. You did the Thrive challenge at the beginning of the year, didn't you?
No, I only
Oh no.
no, well, I only found out about it like the day you were starting it, and
Oh,
because as I was just I took 2 weeks off everything, mentally,
that's
socially,
good.
everything.
That's
And when
good.
I came back, it was like, what's this Thrive thing that I haven't done? Oh, damn it! But I
Oh,
didn't.
look, I'll share the video with you anyway about lighting and angles because it's a really good one. Because, like, literally, if I'm just going to do this right here. I'll just show you. This is the photo. See with the light behind. And now if I go,
Yeah.
like it's honestly because the cameras are so good on these phones, it's ridiculous that what you need to do is if you can understand that when I'm is to if I've got my camera and the lights behind, it will never take a good shot. You always want to turn and then the light is on the product. So the light is behind you because you're going to be starting off with taking videos and photos of everything else, not of yourself. It's always feel the light behind you. If you're looking at the light and you're squinting, facing the wrong way. Like honestly, just
Yeah.
try with that one little step.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll be amazed at the difference in the photography that you've got.
Well, my other question around that is, I see some people's websites and they just have their product on white, like on
Yeah.
it's just the product, using numerous different things to sort of remove the background. Then, but again, like I'm not normal like that. Like
Yeah.
I don't like white. You can see I don't paint walls white. I mean, it's not that I don't like it. I love it when I see it in other people's environment.
Yeah.
But for me, that's why I painted my shop green and gold. I mean, it's so I have a problem with how it's going to look best on Made It on a website. Um, I know it's all about like stopping someone, and
Yeah.
I know you said scroll through images and go, what stops you?
Yeah.
Well, what stops me is usually something that's similar to what I'm doing, but I feel better than what I'm doing. Does that make sense?
It does. And look, I have to be honest and say that I don't think that there's any issue with your imagery at all. Like, I actually think that your imagery is really good.
With the
And
Australian flowers.
absolutely.
Okay, so I can keep going that way.
Absolutely, because I think and look, this is all about as we go, and I know I keep harping on about the content pillars, but I think it's so relevant to you, and because you've got that analytical mind as well, because that's quite a rare thing, like with creatives, that you've got the analytical and the creative. So you want to make that really work for you, right? That you know how we talked about flora and fauna before. I would adjust that and say Australian flora and fauna.
Yes, yes, definitely.
So that's like another little key unlock. Because even within that, right, it's like, well, of course it makes sense. Like, your products are made with wood, they're specifically Australian. Like, therefore, it makes no sense to be on a white background. Like, for me personally, white backgrounds for me are like big verticals. And even then, like the big stores and mass produce are starting to not have that background. Like that's sort of starting to fade out because there's no life to it. And again, I think you don't need to overthink it. Like your product, and you can't see because of the light and stuff, but it would just work so well. Like literally, even like that, held just with grass behind. Because the grass is that contrast, because you don't use a lot of bright green. It's more of that muted green. Yeah.
Mm.
So therefore, it's always going to pop against a grass green background. Putting your hand in the shot, right? This is where putting your hand in the shot is straight away going to say, so in this spot here, right? If we were to put that with a grass background, just imagine we've got a bit of grass here. Grass, sustainability, flora and fauna, Australian, handmade, whimsy. Like literally
You're a
from that one
genius.
shot. But it's what you're already doing. And I just think you're not seeing the beauty that you're actually creating. And I really think, like, one of the things that I would say about your products, in particular the wooden ones, is that they're such a surprise and delight. So
Oh.
each time that I've received products, I'm like, even though I saw it online, there's like a, oh, and you, of course, package so beautifully as well. So there's a whole experience that happens when you're going to open your products as well, which I think is a beautiful tie-in. And you could even do like one of the ones that you do in store with your stories, right? Wrapping up a parcel. And you can literally go and you can have some fun with it, get a little bit creative. So when you're in the shop and you've got a bit of time, it's like, how do I make this look even more whimsical? And it could be like you've got some, I don't know, glitter or whatever, and you're just sprinkling magic dust, right? So all of that, and all of a sudden the audience is like, oh, it looks so beautiful. I must, when I'm in that area, go and visit the shop. Like I want, there's a whole experience thing that you're building there. So when we're talking about back to consistency as well and what that's going to look like for you. Now, your website, is your website active at the moment or it
Yeah.
is? Okay. So you need to clean up your links and social media. Have a look at that. But like what I would say is that you want to make this as simple and easy as possible for yourself. So when we're talking about your time and everything that you've got, and again, utilize those spreadsheets, the more that you can be like, when this, that, the more likely you're going to be able to actually deliver on stuff and understand what's getting you the results.
Something, I guess this might be something not necessarily for right now, but perhaps it's a class you'll do at some point, or you've
Oh, I
probably
love that. You're like, maybe
done
it's
it.
a masterclass.
I love the master classes. Is, I guess, technology. I'm not technical. Hubby, phenomenally technical. He's my IT consultant and my everything technical consultant. So I've never even tried to, be clever at this stuff, but I'm not. I go glazing over when people talk about it. But so I'm not good at social interacting with my website interacting with Facebook and Instagram, my products there so I can tag my products. I this is just a world I can't seem to get my head around. I've tried to do it and it's gone wrong, and then it's like I don't know what I did, and yeah, it's
I
and it
I
seems
think
to get more complicated as
Yeah,
you.
it does. And because everything's moving so quickly as well.
Yeah,
So I think that there's almost like a feeling of like, oh, you're not keeping up or you're
yeah,
missing out on something when it's not really the case. What I would say is that when you're time poor, which is so relatable to most people,
mm,
but in particular with artisans as well, where they do have a full-time job as well, is that when you're trying to do too many things, it's just too much. Like, it's really that simple, and I know where you're saying about content, I was sort of nudging back on that, only because I
yeah,
believe that when you've got a plan and once you get into a rhythm, content is something that you do while you're doing the other
yeah.
stuff. So rather than being a separate job, rather than being like, "Oh, I'm gonna do content."
Which it is. It feels like, right, now I'm going to
Totally.
deal with a social, and yes.
Totally. Whereas you're like, "Oh, I'm opening the shop. That's right. Get the sign.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. If I'm on my way to work and I see a beautiful flower that, how good would this be as an everlasting flower? Great. I'll take a photo. Like, it's simple stuff that you can do
Yeah, make it part
along the
of the
way.
process. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that you can do with that is that with your photos, you can actually add them to an album on your phone.
Yeah.
So, hubby, you're across. Yep, great. You're across
Yeah.
how to do.
I can do albums. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
That's
So
come
with
up
your
one there.
So with your content pillars, that's where you can make the different content pillar albums. And you just literally, so any time that you're like, oh, that would be beautiful, or oh, there's a butterfly or some bees or whatever it is, right? That you can take a little bit of video and just boom, send it straight to your album, like put it into that album, but also as well, keep the content short. So like if you take a little video, like I did with the bird, it's just like 1, 2, 3. So maybe three is your number, right? I always love threes. It's an easy one, body, mind, soul, right? But 1, 2, 3. If you keep that in mind anytime you're taking video or anything, because it means that you're not filling up your phone with huge content as well. You can just take it quickly and you start to stack it and keep it there. But with your website and adding stuff and products, I think it's worth sitting down with a big sheet of paper, right? And, pens or markers or whatever it is that you like, and go, okay, what does the Wally and Eva ecosystem look like? So, what I mean by that is that where's the main point? And I'm going to guess it might be your shop.
Yeah, I get, yeah. It's just it's attracting customers, foot
Yeah,
traffic, web
great.
traffic, the two, that's really the combination.
Great. And so those customers that are coming into store, you're sending them to your website?
Kind of, yeah, I don't really think about it.
So these are sort of some of the things that we go, okay, how can I make the Wally and Eva ecosystem more streamlined and actually start working for me better? And understanding this means that you're not making it up as guesswork as you go. So every customer that comes in and you connect with, you go, okay, where is the best place for me to send them, where it's going to make the most sense for where I want to be spending time and where I want to be doing things. So, as an example, like if we take artisans who are at the markets, quite often they like to send their customers to Instagram,
Yeah, all
right?
right. Okay, I'm with you
And
now. Sorry,
and
yes.
that will be like, okay, so and if it's your website and you want them to subscribe, like you want to kind of think about, well, and why are we getting them to subscribe if we're not sending emails, right? Like there's all sorts of like because you'll only be able to send them to one place. And that's where you start to go. So let's say, for an example, if we took Instagram as an example, and I guess one of the reasons I'm thinking Instagram is because it's so visual, it might be a space that you can start to create content really easily. Now, what that might look like is that you're sending them to Instagram, they've been in the shop, and so on that day, you've got fresh stories. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden they go there and it's active when they follow you or you see that someone's followed you, you go in, check out who it was. And if it was a customer who came to your store, you send them a message and you say, thanks so much for coming to the store today. If they bought something, go and you can remember, like, so it's always good to do these things fresh, right?
Mm.
So you kind of do it in the shop. You can even take a sneaky photo of them if you like just to remember who it is. Or you get them to do it while you're there. Go, oh, here, here, this is where we are on Instagram. If you've got your phone there, you show them, they then write it, and you go, oh, did you follow? You go, oh, great, I'll follow you back.
Yeah, right.
So it's not
Although I find sometimes it comes from the customer now that you're saying that, they'll often ask, do you have a website or are you on Instagram or are you on Facebook? And that
absolutely
immediately tells me where they're going to be looking at me.
great. So this could be like this might even be if we take a step back from that, for the next, let's say for the rest of the month, the rest of April, you could on those days write as many notes as you can in the store, like see, almost doing a survey. What did they ask for? Because that will give you an indication of who your customer is as well. So often, if they're asking for website, it's because they may not live close to you and they'd like to actually order
Yeah.
online and they want to send it as a gift. And they're like, and I think as well, I would be leaning in as much as humanly possible into the real Australian theme because you do it anyway. It's part of your brand, but it's not often done very well. Like a lot of the typically Australiana stuff is very
Mm.
tacky.
Yeah, and that's why we get afraid of using words like Australiana giftware, because immediately
Yeah,
you think of the koala clip that clips onto yeah, and the little thing.
totally.
Yeah,
But saying proudly Australian is different. So there's subtle ways, but also Australian native, like that is something that someone would search. Australian native gifts.
Yeah.
great, because you often find as well that definitely there's a huge proportion of the population who are really passionate about Australian native, flora and fauna, right? Like these are things that are going to actually inspire them to buy. So I think there's a huge opportunity in there for you to really own that space a bit as well. So when I'm thinking about the type of creations that you do, like your Christmas ornaments in particular, I have to say, oh my God, they're so beautiful and they're really unique. And I haven't seen anything, like nothing else has popped up in my periphery that I go, oh yeah, but it's kind of similar to that.
Well, it's funny because I mean, obviously they take a long time to make, so maybe it's because no
Yeah,
one else is crazy enough to sit down and want to make them. But I could not sell them. We couldn't sell them to save ourselves at markets. So no one was into, they just walked straight
mm,
past them. And then so last year in the shop, it was like, well, I've got all these decorations, I'll chuck them in the shop. I sold out, like, I never thought anyone would buy them. I couldn't make them
yeah,
fast enough to cover the,
yeah,
so obviously it was a thing I didn't see coming. But they have actually been really well received when people look at them.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And so I think there's a few little things that you could do in here. Like it would be good to like add on your signature on the back as well. Can you
yeah,
just write your signature?
yeah, maybe, yeah, I could.
Yeah, like literally
To
just
brand them
something,
on the back somehow.
brand them. Just brand them. And it doesn't have to be big, or it's just, but it's one of those things that I'm like, it's probably like a missed opportunity, I would say. Like, obviously, don't make it look like a sticker, but something very small to make it look artisan. It could even be like WE or something on it somewhere, something that, or a logo or something that shows that it's yours. Um, but yeah, I think it's about kind of you working out where's my time best spent. And then from there, start to remove things a little bit. And then it will give you space because you don't have to understand social media. Now it might be, oh, I only have to understand Instagram stories and how to add a friend or how to follow someone.
Yeah, I see what you're
So,
saying.
so every time that you're thinking, oh, I've got this big thing I've got to approach, just go, what's the X?
I'm very good at telling people this and training people in my day job to
Totally.
not look at the big picture, look at, just do, but then as soon as as with everyone, I'm my own worst enemy at taking my own advice and
Do you know what
actually
I
looking at it
find
small rather than.
the thing I find really interesting and a commonality with most of the really amazing artisans that I know that actually also have really amazing careers and are very smart and savvy. And then it's like, but you can't see it when you're in it.
No.
I have coaches, I have mentors, and they tell me things, and I'm like, I know this. And they're like, yeah, but you can't see it when you're in it. So it's like, we're all the same. I was like, literally, my coach, and he said to me something the other day, and I was like, I think I've said that 100 times to other people. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I hear it now that I
The
say it.
doctors make the worst patients. It's
That's right. That's right.
the.
But I think for you, what I would be trying to do is that even in the space of growth, right? There's that saying where you can do everything, but you can't do it all at once.
Oh, I like that.
So it means that rather than trying to do Facebook, Instagram, mailing lists, website, made it, right? It's like, okay, we need to rein this in and start to get traction in one area. And once we start to see how we're getting traction in one area, we'll be able to apply that to another area. And all you have to do, right, is point everyone to the same spot. And so, what I mean by that is kind of going like, let's say, for example, if you went like with your mailing list, right? If you're not sending emails, look, it's always great to get emails, but then you should really send something because it's almost like, because do you send weekly emails or something or monthly?
No.
Right, that's what I
I
mean.
have I have my November template sitting in drafts on my website.
I love it. I love it. So it's
I was trying to do a monthly, but it just, again, I overthought it so much, wasn't perfect, came back to it, edited it, walked away from it. It's just become almost
Look,
a
I'm
thing.
a huge believer in email marketing. It's so powerful. But again, we're going to pull it back in. You need a really good template, right? So if you've already got the template there, it's
I
already
sort
done.
of do. Yeah, I do
Right.
have the template. Yeah.
Change it, get rid of all of the words, like get rid of all the, like, yes, you want to have in there, hi, first name, look who's just arrived on the scene. Okay. And lots of love, Lou, or
Mm.
yours and native flora and fauna Lou or something. And then you literally have one picture of who's come in or what's come in, and that's it. And then you just go, come check out, like, here's our opening hours for the shop, and then the links where you want people to send to, and that's it. And then each month, all you got to do is like, guess who's here this month?
Oh, I love it.
And then all of a sudden you go, okay, hold on. I'm going to use that same philosophy in my socials. Guess who's here? And what is it? So the first part of it would be you with the wood, cutting the wood. Great. Handmade content. The next part would be like, asking the question, can you guess what it is? Can you guess the native Australian bird? And then that can create some engagement. And it's not like the engagement's going to blow up overnight, right? Like you really got to get used to warming it. But then you could go, okay, then the next post is maybe it's like you putting together the few colors that you're going to use. So it's like you're just dropping these crumbs. And again, it's giving you a formula that you can repeat. So in the one-on-one session that I just had with a neg recently, and she started doing Monday rocks and no, sorry, Monday blues and Friday rocks because she's a gem cutter. And so I don't know if you've seen them, but they're like beautiful, really simple posts. But because she's a gem cutter and she has a video in there and like 3 photos, and it's like the before and the after because it's a gem that she's working on. So she knows every week she needs a blue stone and she tends to use like a red stone on the Friday. That's it. So from that consistency, she's like, well, that's easy to do.
Yeah. You
So
make it sound easy, but then my brain starts ticking over going, oh, so I need to do this and this and
so
this.
so again, like, with your plan, just like if it was easy, what would it look like?
In a perfect world, uh, and this goes back to our spreadsheeting and love and our love of controlling these sort of things, I would have templates. And that's my
Mm.
frustration is that I'm not happy with the template. So therefore, that's where this whole thought process comes in and my consistency. Because I look at the template going, it's okay, it could be better. So then it makes me avoid the task or do something else or start from scratch again. And this is what I mean by I keep changing it slightly. It's like,
So
like
So that would be right. Like if we were going to say like that you could start using your imagery to be the template. So rather than trying to create a graphic, we're just going to focus on an imagery. And so if we were going to do green sustainability, right, it could literally be, I don't know, using the green backdrop. Think about like what are 3 green backdrops that I can use, so that's only like one a month is going to be on green sustainability. So you don't have to have another green backdrop until the following one, but it's almost like you want to have it preset and you might have a rotation. So you said that you've got green in your shop.
yeah, it's painted olive green.
Great. So that's one backdrop. So that's done. The template's done. So holding something in front of the green backdrop, done. So the next one being the next content pillar that we had was flora and fauna. So that's going to be like, okay, great. I'm going to photograph either something like product. And this is really where as well. And again, every artisan that I have sessions with, it's so tailored because everyone's so different, right? But for you, I just wonder whether you just need to get used to doing stories.
I've never done stories.
So the beauty is with stories is that they don't last. It's not like they're up on your permanent grid, but it shows that your profile is active. And once you start to get a rhythm with it, people get to warm to you and get to know you as well. And once you start to get into that rhythm of doing stuff, it'll start to grow from there, but it'll also grow your confidence with actually creating content. And creating content that when you
Just
go
me
to
in
your
it,
grid,
yeah.
that when you go to your grid, let me just bring it up, is that it's not like you're having to look at it straight away. Like, this is looking beautiful. And you can literally write in your bio, catch up with me on stories Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
Like, you just set what's going to be in there. And then for you, you can just start to get used to being in that rhythm and going, okay, what can I create that makes sense to Wally and Eva?
So you use the stories. So that's where you and that's where the growth comes from. And then
I don't think I don't
what about the posts and the reels and the
I don't I again,
would you then take that and
you
use
can, but
that?
at this stage, you just want to get into consistency.
Okay.
So you're getting, like, rather than getting stuck on
I'm
perfectionism and yeah, exactly. So you just go, I'm gonna do 3 stories on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And maybe it's Wednesday night, right? Maybe it's like because the store is going to be open on Thursday, right? To start creating that regularity. But if you just do that and literally have, and you can even write, and this you can put into your content as well, like anything that you can share, people are interested in, right? And you've got like behind the scenes stuff. It's like it's you making, it's choosing paints, like there's all sorts of stuff, but you just want to make it look natural. That I think for you is like where you allow yourself to shine through and to share some of your products, right? Because you don't need a bigger following, you need a more engaged following.
yeah,
That's different.
yeah, yeah.
The following will, the growth will come as you grow.
I think also, and I'm sure this is what's going to come up on all of these sessions for you. And you've said some stuff today that's, made me feel really good, is having confidence in the products, which I don't. I mean, I do. I
Oh,
love them. I love them. Don't get me wrong. I love them. And I meet lots of people and they go, they're lovely. But I guess hearing you say that they are a consistent product in themselves has sort of made me go, I need to stick to my lane. This is
yeah.
what is us, and this is what predominantly people love when they come into the shops. They also love the lamps, but that's it's easier in a shop. I can display them and
Yeah.
light them, and they're very hard to take photographs of. So
And I think for me as well, I think like and that would be part of a bigger conversation is that really with the lights and like it makes sense now that you say that you've got a shop. Like I'm like, oh, I get it. Like the penny sort of dropped with that.
and
But
because we do a lot of woodwork, so the
yeah,
pieces are actually handmade by Mike. So that's where he
right.
comes in with all the woodworking stuff. So
And I wouldn't have
I'm
I
more,
wouldn't have known that they
yeah.
were handmade.
Yeah. So the shades handmade, and
Right.
obviously sticks to the theme of Australiana fabrics. I try and use Australian designers if I can,
Yeah.
and then he comes in and hand makes tallow wood bases. So
Oh,
the
do you
whole
know, Lou, that I could go into
I'm
a
missing a trick
whole
there, aren't
no,
I?
I could it's just exploded a million ideas in my brain. Anyway, it will have to be round 2 of the one-on-one sessions. But I think for me, I would just say
Okay.
the more that you learn how to capture your product, the more that you'll fall in love with sharing them.
Yeah.
It's really it's getting the clarity around what you're going to do, and then it's allowing yourself to have the creativity and the imagination that you have. And instead of trying to go this way with products, you stay this way with products, and you let your content go this way.
Yeah. Well, I think it becomes a little bit like going to the gym. Becomes a bit chore worthy to start with.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
does.
oh, I've got to do socials. I haven't done a social in, yeah. Yeah.
Just, and I think anytime, okay, we have to wrap it up, but I have to give you one more challenge.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So each day you're going to put your camera on your phone, right? And you're going to put it on selfie so that you can see
Oh
yourself.
God.
And you're going to click record on the video and go, look at me. I'm so great at socials. And you know what? So there is method to my madness in this,
I
right?
know.
Not only are you getting used to it, but you're also doing the self-affirmation. But also, when I went like that, I could see the light and I could see what was working. So it's a trick on multiple levels. It's a way to trick your subconscious into allowing that part of yourself to come out. Because I think language is so important. And each time that you say, I can't do it, it's a challenge, da, 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 you just push it down, you push it down, you push it down. Whereas when get yourself a fun phone cover as well. So every time you look at
No,
it,
look, it's my phone color is olive green.
but maybe it needs some gold sparkles. Maybe we've got
I
too
do love a
much
bit
of
of
the,
bling. Yeah.
maybe we've got too much of serious Lou. Maybe it needs cat ears or something on it so that you can be like, look at me. But it's a trick to get you used to it, but it's also
Yeah.
a trick for you to understand light
Yeah.
and what works for you and what angles work for you. And if you do that every day for the month, I guarantee you by the end of the month, you'll be like, yeah, I know my side.
Yes, but you turn the photo on, you turn the camera on yourself and you go, ew, is that what I look like?
Hold it up. Give yourself a favor. Don't hold it. Whatever you do, don't
Do
put the
not
camera
hold it
on.
down. Do not
No,
look down at
no.
it.
Hey, Luke, now I'm going to
Right.
have to finish up.
Yes,
I've got session straight after it, but thank you so much.
thank you. No,
And
thank you so much as well. It's been amazing.
I honestly, and I hope you do know that, but I genuinely love your creations. And, I would happily have a Christmas tree full of your decorations. I think they're so beautiful. But I'm really excited to see what you create.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks, Lena.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Lou.